You know what we're working on? Another banger. Hold up. Wait a minute.
Taking a little commercial break. Be right back. What's going on, YouTube? So this video today, guys, it's going to be a little different. I know a lot of you guys be asking me about these questions. And today, in this video, we're going to be answering some of these Camber questions that you guys, like to ask a lot. I try to help you guys over Instagram and stuff like that, but it's kind of hard to explain over a message, so that's why we're going to be doing the video for you guys, and it's going to be a more hands-on kind of way where you guys can actually see what I tell you guys through these platforms, and then you guys can do it on your cars. But let's get right into this video, guys. Well, guys, let's get right into this video. So a lot of you guys run this type of suspension. On this suspension is called the McPherson style, where it's a 2-bolt setup, 2 bolts holding your suspension and the 3 bolts on the top, and then your hub is right here. So a lot of you guys, the way that we camber these cars, which is the easiest way without having to cut and weld things, what we do is we're gonna go right here to the 2 bolts. So this right here is what controls the camber. They sell a camber bolt, but all it does is give you about 1 to 2 degrees, which isn't much for what we stance guys usually need. So what we're gonna do with these bolts is, the original bolts usually they're gonna be either 17, 19, 22, whichever one yours has. You're gonna want to take off the bolt. It's gonna be the first thing you're gonna do. Your suspension will come pre-slotted, if you can see it there. So it gives you some type of camber that you can roll with, but sometimes that isn't enough. So what I like to do is change the bolts. First off, we change the bolts to see how much we can get. And usually we just go with a grade 8 bolt. Same strength on the bolt. All we do is change the size of it. If you can tell here, compared to the original bolt, you got a pretty smaller dimension. What this does is it gives you more tilt, or as people call it, camber, when you change the bolts. This one obviously is not fitting properly because it's just a bolt that I found, but once you put the bolt on, you can add a washer to it to get it, to cover the space. But if you see there, you see how it gives you a lot more angle to come in. And that right there is gonna give you the degrees that you need. Sometimes this isn't enough, so you would change the bottom bolt as well, which would then give you even more tilt. Like I said, guys, these aren't the bolts we're gonna be using, but we're just showing you so you guys can get a gist of how it's really done. But being that you put 2 smaller bolts, like I said, I've done this for years on all my cars, never had an issue with anything breaking, never lost a bolt, never did anything. As long as the bolts are tied down correctly, you shouldn't have any issues. But once you do this bolt trick and you tilt the, take this out the way. Once you tilt the hub, you're gonna get this right here, and then the actual shock is straight. If a lot of the times, sometimes you don't get the camber you need, what you can also do is what we also do sometimes. We shave down this section here of the hub to where it takes off a couple millimeters, gets it closer to the strut. So right now, if you put this all the way in and you look here, it's gonna hit. So once you shave this down, it causes it to give you more clearance, and this part here goes closer, which then gives you more camber. Sounds confusing, but it's really not. If you want to, watch the video little by little and do it as you're doing it on your car, it'll work. As you can see back here with this car, we did the same thing with 2 bolts and we got the camber that we needed. Didn't have to cut nothing, didn't have to weld anything. It was just plug and play. But that's pretty much it as far as camber wise. The easiest way to get it to tilt when the bolts are loose, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna start all the bolts by hand. And obviously this is gonna be on the vehicle, so you're not gonna see it like this. You're gonna get a jack and you're gonna wanna put the weight of the jack, you're gonna lift here to where it pushes the strut closer into where the bolts are basically tightened. Once you put that weight there, it's gonna basically simulate that the wheel's on the ground and it's pushing the hub in all the way. Then you're gonna wanna tighten these 2 bolts. Once you tighten those 2 bolts and you release the pressure on the jack, this shouldn't move. This should be fixed to the camber that you need.
Well, I guess it's given the fact that it's McPherson, a lot of people have issues with tire wear, and I guess the other issue would be maybe when you're cambering your car, you have to take accountability to your axle binding and your tie rod. Those are stuff that you need to take in consideration.
Yeah, there's also other little things that you have to take into consideration, like Onyx was saying. This is just the camber part of it. You're also gonna have, once you do this camber, it's gonna kick out your toe a lot, which you're gonna need an alignment anyways, but sometimes you can push in the toe back to where it's supposed to go without cutting anything, but sometimes you have to cut your tie rods because they end up being too long and not let you go enough toe in. Other than that, you shouldn't have an issue with camber wise. Also, there's another trick that you can do to basically space out the strut from the wheel, depending what size wheel you have. And we'll show you that in a second on the car that we're working on right now. But that's pretty much a how to get camber on McPherson style suspension, because like I said, they don't sell camber kits for this suspension. It's usually all done here at the hub. There's other ways that you can go about this, but this would be the easiest and less customizing way that you can get camber. But let's go to the car now, and then we'll show you another little trick that you can do to get a little bit more camber as well. If you follow us over here. This is the car we're working on right now. It's a customer's car. Like I said, what I explained there with the bolt trick is what we did on the front of this car. Right now, it's running the top struts are all the way pushed in, and it's just running 2 smaller bolts than the original bolts. Went from 17 millimeter to from 19 millimeter to 17 millimeter, and it got us the camber that we have now. And then also, another way of getting camber that a lot of people, might not want to do, but depending on the vehicle that you're working on, if you don't mind, what you can do is, if you don't get custom top hats, you can also re-drill these bolts in more, which will give you a couple degrees of camber. That's another little trick. On this one, we didn't have to because it's already the camber that we need. But then also on the back of these cars, especially on Toyotas, the hardest part to get camber and to get fitment is going to be on the back of Corollas, Camrys. Usually any Toyota platform, they have less space in the rear than the front. That's where a lot of people run into issues. But we'll show you what we did on this one. As you guys see here, these are 16 by 10 with a positive offset, and we're basically clearing them, almost clearing them. We're working on it right now, but basically full stock body, not pulled quarters, and it's almost tucking. And we're gonna show you now how we got that type of fitment. Oh shit. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
You can see the suspension?
Mm-hmm.
So, if you take a look here, you know, 100% safe. As you can see, we have all 3 bolts.
Look over here.
Oh, I'm like
You're like this. Hold on.
All right, guys. So to achieve this type of fitment, like you guys seen on the outside, we're basically rocking about -10 degrees. And one thing that we had to do just to get the space, just because these wheels are positive camber. I mean, these wheels are positive offset. So since these wheels are positive offset, they bring the wheel in a lot, which is the barrel, which gets too close to the shock. A lot of people have trouble with getting the fitment they need and still clearing the strut. So what we did here, if you guys take a look inside, like I said, it's completely safe, 100% safe. You got all 3 bolts. All we did was basically relocate from where this strut sits on the vehicle originally, which would, if you look at the circle, it would be about, my measurements would be a finger, but it's like, let's say half an inch out, or half an inch towards the body of the vehicle, which pulls the strut away from the wheel, which then it gives you the clearance that we need to fit the wheel. That's a little trick, little hack, something I did to the Camry that got me the fitment I have with the 6.5-inch lips. Didn't have to really weld anything on the Camry or on this vehicle as well. But yeah, guys, that's one of the things that we can do here on the rear, which would be relocating the strut, and then also on the bottom it would be just changing the bolts. But yeah, guys, that's it on this. Well, guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. It's gonna be a quick how to get camber on the McPherson suspension, which is mainly all the Toyota platforms, except for the newer model Camrys. I believe they changed into individual control arms. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it was informative for you guys. Hope it answers a lot of questions. If you guys still have questions, leave comments down below. Let me know if you guys have other videos that you want me to touch into as far as like suspension wise or customizations. But yeah, guys, stay tuned for the next one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that. And I'll see you guys in the next one.